Hey, howdy, how's it going? Overwatch 2 is in a really bad spot right now. Now, compared to some people, they may think that Overwatch is back or something along those lines, but listen, just because they added a new rank does not mean that the game is fixed. If you did not know, for Season 9 for this game, they changed a lot that has to do with the health, with the hitboxes, with how your bullets work, with how hit scan works. The game was completely changed within a day. Now, these patch notes were leaked, and a lot of people were like, I hope to God this doesn't actually happen. And the reason for that is it brings the skill ceiling down, and it makes it so that it's kind of just easier to hit everything. The meta that I've noticed when it comes to playing Overwatch now is Ball as tank is probably one of the best characters right now due to survivability. You have Zen on your team, Lucio, or some other support, and you guaranteed have 2 hit scan, or at least Soldier, and maybe a Sojourn. Now, if you want to spice it up differently, you can have Tracer and Sombra, or Soldier, Sombra, Soldier, Tracer. Having a character that is able to really get into your backline and mess everything up alongside the tank is extremely strong. But with the way that this meta works now, if you're playing any other tank, like example Reinhardt, he's in F tier right now. Like, he is the bottom tier of everything because his shield doesn't last long enough. His shield takes so much extra damage, and then as soon as he is shot in this meta, you are hit with Discord and negative 20% healing. The problem with this, the negative healing received is probably one of the dumbest debuffs to ever get in this game. From my experience, it just makes it so that you can't play. I have comments that I'll show a couple times throughout this video where you have a lot of people saying things like you should tank less, or you should not be out and about as much, like not frontlining as much. You shouldn't be a tank. Doesn't make sense. Obviously, I did a video a while back called The Tank Experience, and it did pretty well. I was actually pretty excited about that. Glad people could see it, because that is the experience of a tank now. If you peek for a second too long, you die. And I have a clip that I know that I wouldn't say clickbaited, but you know, kind of baited, where yes, I was Junker Queen, and in besides the tank, I ran into the entire team while they were using Kiriko's ult, so of course I was going to die. But at the same time, Kiriko headshot me 3 times in a row, and I died. There's a lot of issues here. There's a lot of characters in this game that make the game automatically unfun. There are a lot of people who will say that it is a skill issue for you saying that the game is not as good as it could be right now. Understand, I come from a place where I played Overwatch 1 for at least a year and a half. I played, you know, when I played Overwatch when it first came out, I played through Christmas, I played through Halloween, I played all these things when they first released for the very first time. I was there, and I've always played on console, you know, so there's no difference between there. I was there for the hype when Ana was coming out, for when Sombra came out, for, you know, all of these other characters. Eventually, you know, I stopped playing, and the reason for that was double shield and certain things along those lines. And with going from Overwatch 1 to 2, this entire game changed really quickly. A lot of the changes were stuff that could have happened in Overwatch 1, and going to Overwatch 2 is completely unnecessary. And if we had the ability to go back, I would take that, because Overwatch 2 sucks all around. The tanks can't tank, it's easier to hit shots. Support is like God right now in the ability to give you immortality most of the time, and it's just really unfun. The problem right now, I think, is that DPS is given this debuff that obviously, you know, some people say, oh, it's like a double-edged sword. It really isn't. It really depends on the team. So if you are a very good tank and you have really bad DPS and your support is pretty all right, they're playing Kiriko and let's say BAP, you basically have a tank and 2 DPS, not including the actual DPS, because they're not going to do anything. They are going to die most of the time. Enemy team that you're facing has a not so good tank, but their DPS is really good and their support is really good. You're going to lose. The tank role is kind of like a piñata. You're just getting smacked around for a while, and then you get repaired, and then you get smacked around again. It happens every time. You cannot peek for more than a second in this game. You need to hug corners more than you ever have before, and it's just really not that fun. Then you have characters like Widowmaker, where she can be super, super far, headshot snipe you, and you've lost now 300 of your health, on top of the negative 20% healing, and with the Discord on you, you just blow up. It doesn't make sense. I do not understand what this balancing team has been doing this whole time. One thing that has also bothered me when it came to Overwatch is that patches and certain things like that come out so irregularly that the game feels stale really quickly. Doing patches where it's every month, every other month, or like in the middle of a season, it's not good enough. Call of Duty does it. It fucking sucks. Companies need to start being like, you know, the smaller indie devs where they kind of just patch shit over time, over and over and over and over. They change certain things or something. I know that they came out with patch notes a little bit later where they kind of like tweaked a few things, but the game still is just in a really bad state. You have two characters in this game who have Immortality as an ability. It's on cooldown for seconds. And then you have characters like Zen with Discord. Discord is a 6v6 sort of ability to use. It doesn't make sense when there's less of one thing. It could be any role. It could have been DPS. It's not fun for that DPS because that is the focused person. In my opinion, Overwatch could genuinely save itself if it went back to 6v6. But at the same time, the balancing team and, you know, people who just work on this game have no idea what they are doing. We had people like Jeff Kaplan who were, you know, very excited about the game, who loved fixing it, who loved making it better for everyone to play. And all of those people are gone. This is an entirely new team besides, you know, Aaron Keller, but he wasn't the main guy. He wasn't Jeff Kaplan. He took his place. There's just so many issues. And it's the thing where, you know, I talk about it and I'm like, does it really matter? Or this game will just die eventually, sadly. But it's like, there are many ways to fix this game, especially because for the original people who played in Overwatch 1, we spent $40 to $60 to get the game. We had all the characters. Now, they never gave any benefits to those players. That never happened. And I feel like a lot of people weren't upset enough about that. People were like, oh, you'll get the first character for free even if you don't get the battle pass if you had Overwatch 1. That is nowhere near good enough. In my opinion, there should have been something designed so that you could still receive loot boxes and make it so that you receive every new character that comes out, because that's what you paid for. There was no agreement or anything. There's probably terms and conditions or something, you know, bullshit like that. But going from 1 to 2 was stupid. I've always hated it. I was like, this is dumb. I like that it's going to be free, but that just means microtransactions. And the game automatically just takes a big dump. And I don't know. This game could have been a lot better. And I'm not someone who's like advocating for something stupid where I'm like, yes, Mercy should have her ult again where she can res everyone or something. Like, no ability like that. Like, no overpowered thing. But then, you know, you're hoping for a new character for this game, and then you're like, oh, here's Mauga. They didn't know how to do anything with him. He is primarily a character where if you do not shoot the enemy tank, you will die. That is a really bad and like terribly designed tank. And for Mauga in this meta, Mauga dies really easily, and he's a new character, so you would think he's more with the Overwatch 2 format. He's not. Junker Queen and even Sojourn were designed in Overwatch 1 around that time, and then they, like, you know, slowly made it so that competitive was 5v5 and certain things like that. I feel like this game could do a lot better. And it's one thing to say it, and it's like there's no point in giving a whole written list, because streamers that play every single day compared to me, you know, playing every now and again now compared to playing every single day, like, they've talked about this. A lot of people have explained their issues with it. Then you have certain people where, you know, they're never going to say anything because they really want to be on, you know, Blizzard's good side, certain things like that. They want to be, you know, that sort of sponsor to have drops or, you know, shit like that. And it's just, I don't know. Like, I've seen a lot on this game lately where, and I'll try to find it, but there's a clip from Emong where he basically just shows how tank is now with a good team, all around good team. Both teams are really good. He's playing Diva, so he has Matrix. He uses Matrix, and as soon as the Matrix is gone, he loses half of his health instantly. Now, there's a few problems here. His support can't double out heal it because he's receiving negative 20% healing. And on top of that, I don't fully remember, but he could have been discorded. That would make it even worse. On top of that, there's only one tank. A thing that happened in Overwatch 1 to 2, and especially just 2, is that everything has been getting buffed. A lot of people have the idea where it's like, oh, if you buff everything and make everything overpowered, then nothing's overpowered. I'm going to tell you this now. That doesn't work. There's always meta. So if something is extremely broken compared to someone being slightly broken. It's not balanced. Now, some people have said in the past, and something that I do agree with, is that, you can't make the game perfectly balanced, because as soon as you add a new character, it changes the entire game. But as an example, the way to properly fix this game, if you wanted to keep 5v5, would be getting rid of Immortality, giving Bap some new ability. Make it so that he cannot make it so that you can live through anything. Make it so that Kiriko's cleanse just cleanses effects and slightly heals. That's it. And if it, it does the same thing that it does now, where if it cleanses something, it does an extra bit of healing. Get rid of Ana's anti-nade. We don't need that. That should be negative healing, negative like 20, 30, whatever healing. Get rid of the DPS passive for that. Give them back their ability to reload faster when they get a kill. Get rid of Zen's Discord. Give him some other ability that you can balance around that makes it more fun for everyone to play. Tone down the healing and the amount of damage happening. If everything is slightly toned down and you take away all these new projectile and hit scan buffs alongside the health, the entire game changes. The thing that people don't understand is that this is pretty much what they did from Overwatch 1 to 2. They changed a few things, they got rid of one thing, moved a few characters around, and reworked a few characters. One thing that I have seen a lot is that, hey, Orisa could have had this rework back in Overwatch 1 to fix double shields. She was the main issue. And if they started to slowly add more tanks, it would make it so that people didn't want to play double shield. And especially with the way that the meta is right now and just how certain things work, characters like Bastion, who can output insane damage if no one does anything to him. And now I'm speaking from experience a lot of the time. This game, when you are playing with bad players, is extremely unfun, because if you have one person on the other team who is zimming, which is using a mouse and keyboard on console, even though it's a console lobby, the game just immediately shits the bed. Because especially with the new changes to hit scan and being able to hit shots even easier, Zim has an easier time. Now, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe, the stuff that I've talked about is absolutely insane, but I really don't want to say any more about this game, because me talking about it doesn't really fix it. Not that many people know me, so, it's not something where it's like SK, where she talked about the current state of the Overwatch or whatever, and people were like, hey, let's actually, acknowledge this, and then they did a blog post. That would never happen. I don't play Overwatch like that. I don't like Overwatch like that anymore. I would like it much more if it changed. And they're never going to change it exactly to how it would be consumer friendly, so I'll just make videos when they completely fuck the game over again. So if you did enjoy this video, or you liked or disliked any of the opinions that I shared, comment down below or drop a like. And if you want to see more of my content, may not entirely revolve around Overwatch, subscribe. I like making videos on video games. They're fun. I play them all the time. You probably do as well. I hope you guys have a great day, great week, great month, the whole rest of the year. It doesn't really matter when it is. I hope that it's great for you guys, though. See ya.